Have you ever noticed how some people seem to earn more money every year, get promoted, buy bigger houses, and drive nicer cars, yet somehow they are still stressed about money? They make good incomes, but they still check their bank account before making purchases. They still worry about bills. They still feel trapped. If you ask them what the problem is, most of them would blame inflation, taxes, the economy, or bad luck. But what if I told you that for millions of people, the real problem is sitting inside their homes right now? What if the biggest obstacle to building wealth isn't a lack of income, but a habit so common that almost everyone does it without thinking? And what if that habit is costing people not just money, but years of their lives? Today we're talking about one thing you should stop buying immediately. Not because it's illegal, not because it's dangerous, but because it's quietly stealing your future while pretending to make your life better. Let me tell you a story. Imagine a young man named Daniel. Daniel gets his first professional job after college. He's excited. He finally has a paycheck. For the first time in his life, he feels independent. The first paycheck arrives, and he promises himself he'll be responsible. He'll save money. He'll invest. He'll build a better future. But then, something happens. He sees a newer phone. His current phone works perfectly fine, but the new one has a slightly better camera and a few extra features. He buys it. A few weeks later, he upgrades his headphones. Then he buys a designer jacket. Then a premium subscription. Then another subscription. Then a smartwatch. Then a gaming accessory. Then expensive shoes. Then luxury sunglasses. None of these purchases seem like a big deal. After all, they're spread out over months. They're affordable. They're normal. Everybody else is doing the same thing. But by the end of the year, Daniel has spent thousands of dollars and has almost nothing to show for it. The excitement from each purchase lasted a few days, maybe a few weeks, and then disappeared. Now here's the interesting part. Daniel isn't irresponsible. He's actually a smart person. He understands basic math. He knows saving money is important, yet he keeps making the same decisions. Why? Because the problem isn't intelligence. The problem is psychology. Human beings are wired to chase rewards. When you buy something new, your brain releases chemicals that make you feel good. You feel excitement. You feel anticipation. You feel pleasure. But that feeling fades quickly. So what do many people do? They chase the feeling again. Another purchase. Another upgrade. Another package arriving at the door. Another hit of excitement. Without realizing it, they're not buying products anymore. They're buying emotions. Think about how many things you've purchased over the last few years that you were absolutely convinced would change your life. Maybe it was a gadget. Maybe it was clothing. Maybe it was some trendy product everyone was talking about online. At the time, it felt important. It felt necessary. It felt urgent. But where is it now? Is it still making you happy? Is it still improving your life every day? Or has it become just another object, sitting somewhere collecting dust? Most people never ask themselves these questions, because doing so would force them to confront an uncomfortable truth. The majority of what they buy provides temporary satisfaction rather than lasting value. Now, let's talk about the thing you should stop buying immediately. Things you purchase mainly to impress other people. This is one of the most expensive habits in modern society. It doesn't matter whether it's clothes, gadgets, accessories, cars, or anything else. If the primary reason you're buying something is because you want other people to see it and think more highly of you, you're walking into a trap. Here's why. The approval you're seeking doesn't last. Someone notices your new purchase for a few seconds, maybe a few minutes, and then they go back to thinking about their own lives. Meanwhile, you're left with the cost. You're left with the bill. You're left with the lost opportunity. Imagine spending hundreds of dollars to impress someone who forgets about the purchase before the day ends. Sounds ridiculous, right? Yet people do it every day. They work extra hours to afford things they don't need. They take on debt to maintain appearances. They sacrifice future financial security for temporary social approval. And the worst part is that most of the people they're trying to impress are doing the exact same thing. Everyone is running on the same treadmill, trying to look successful instead of becoming successful. The difference between looking rich and being rich is enormous. Looking rich is easy. Anyone can finance a car they can't afford. Anyone can use a credit card to buy expensive products. Anyone can create the appearance of wealth. But being rich is different. Being rich means having assets. It means having savings. It means having investments. It means having options. It means not panicking when an emergency happens. It means being able to make decisions based on what you want rather than what your bank account allows. Unfortunately, many people sacrifice the second goal in pursuit of the first. Let's imagine two friends. They both earn the same salary. One friend constantly upgrades everything. New phone every year, new clothes every season, new gadgets every month. The other friend keeps things longer. They upgrade only when necessary. They focus on value rather than appearance. 10 years later, the difference between them is shocking. The first friend has a house full of old purchases and very little financial progress. The second friend has investments, savings, and significantly more freedom. The gap wasn't created by income. It was created by decisions repeated over time. This is one of the most important lessons in personal finance. Wealth is rarely built through dramatic actions. It's built through small choices repeated consistently. Every unnecessary purchase isn't just money leaving your account. It's money that can no longer work for you. It's money that can't be invested. It's money that can't earn returns. It's money that can't create opportunities. Most people see spending as a one-time event. Wealthy people see spending as an opportunity cost. They understand that every dollar has multiple possible futures. Imagine holding $100 in your hand. Most people see $100. A financially educated person sees possibilities. They see future growth. They see potential investments. They see future freedom. They understand that money is more than paper or numbers on a screen. It's a tool. And like any tool, its value depends on how it's used. A hammer can build a house or sit unused in a garage. Money can build a future or disappear into purchases that add little value. Now, don't misunderstand this message. This isn't about becoming cheap. It's not about never enjoying life. It's not about refusing to buy things you genuinely value. The goal isn't to eliminate spending. The goal is to eliminate mindless spending. There's a huge difference. If something genuinely improves your life, provides meaningful value, or aligns with your priorities, then spending money on it can make sense. The problem arises when spending becomes automatic, when purchases are driven by emotion rather than intention. Have you ever had a bad day and immediately wanted to buy something? Maybe you opened an online shopping app. Maybe you started browsing products. Maybe you convinced yourself you deserved a reward. This behavior is incredibly common. Companies understand it. That's why advertisements often target emotions rather than logic. They don't sell products. They sell feelings. They sell confidence. They sell status. They sell belonging. They sell excitement. The product itself is often secondary. The challenge is that emotional purchases rarely solve emotional problems. If you're stressed, buying something might distract you temporarily. If you're bored, a purchase might entertain you briefly. If you're feeling insecure, a new possession might boost your confidence for a short time. But eventually, the underlying issue returns. That's why people often find themselves repeating the cycle. They aren't solving problems. They're renting temporary relief. Let's do a simple thought experiment. Imagine you receive $1,000 unexpectedly. No strings attached. Just $1,000 deposited into your account. What would you do with it? Many people immediately start thinking about things they could buy. A new device, a vacation, clothes, accessories. But what if instead of asking what you could buy, you asked what that money could become? What could it grow into over 5 years? 10 years? 20 years? That shift in thinking changes everything. Instead of focusing on immediate consumption, you begin focusing on future possibilities. One of the reasons wealthy individuals often become wealthier is that they think differently about money. They understand delayed gratification. They understand that sacrificing a small pleasure today can create a much larger reward tomorrow. This mindset isn't glamorous. It isn't exciting. In fact, it's often boring. But boring decisions are frequently the ones that create extraordinary results. Imagine planting a tree. The day you plant it, nothing impressive happens. A week later, nothing impressive happens. A month later, still nothing impressive happens. But years later, that tiny seed becomes something substantial. Wealth works the same way. Small investments, small savings, small improvements. They seem insignificant at first, but given enough time, they become powerful. Unfortunately, modern culture often pushes people in the opposite direction. Everything is about speed. Instant results. Instant gratification. Instant success. People want financial freedom immediately. They want wealth without patience. They want results without sacrifice. And because of this mindset, they often choose short-term rewards over long-term benefits. The irony is that the things people buy to appear successful are often the very things preventing them from becoming successful. The expensive upgrade, the unnecessary luxury, the impulse purchase. Individually, they seem harmless. Collectively, they become obstacles. Like tiny leaks in a boat, each one appears manageable. But eventually, enough leaks can sink the entire vessel. Now imagine a different approach. Imagine that before every purchase, you paused and asked yourself 3 questions. Do I genuinely need this? Will I still value this a year from now? What am I giving up by spending this money? These questions won't eliminate all spending, nor should they. But they will force you to become conscious of your decisions. And consciousness is where financial transformation begins. The truth is that freedom isn't built through dramatic moments. It's built through daily habits. It's built through choices nobody sees. The decision not to buy something unnecessary. The decision to save instead of spend. The decision to invest instead of impress. These actions aren't exciting. Nobody applauds them. Nobody posts about them online. But over time, they create a life that many people dream about and few achieve. Years from now, you probably won't remember most of the unnecessary things you almost bought, but you will remember the peace of mind that comes from financial security. You will remember the opportunities created by wise decisions. You will remember the freedom that comes from controlling your money instead of being controlled by it. So what should you stop buying immediately? Anything whose primary purpose is to impress others. Anything purchased purely for a temporary emotional high. Anything bought because an advertisement convinced you that your life was incomplete without it. Stop buying those things. Start buying your future instead. Because at the end of the day, the greatest luxury isn't a product. It isn't a brand. It isn't a status symbol. The greatest luxury is freedom. The freedom to choose how you spend your time. The freedom to pursue opportunities. The freedom to live without constant financial stress. And unlike most purchases, that's something that becomes more valuable every single year.